The Black Panther expansion is almost here. It comes out in less than a week on August 3rd, but we have one more blog post to look at with a few more details before the whole thing is revealed. We arrive now at the last of our looks into what Wakanda brings in Legendary Black Panther. Alongside all the craft and cunning we've already shared, there's yet another twist on a familiar staple of the game, wounds. Wounds have been the bane of many a hand in Legendary, often throwing off your well-made deck at the worst possible timing. Instead of being affected by those cards, how would you like to be the one to deal them out? Yes, now it's possible to wound a villain. Whenever a card prompts you to do so, put a wound onto a villain from the wound stack or from the KO pile. A villain gets -1 attack for each wound on it. When that villain is defeated or leaves the city, return all wounds on it to the wound stack. With this, it's possible to bring villains down to 0 or even into negatives. This won't cause them to be defeated instantly. They still must be fought, but you'll be able to do so for free. As for if they reach a negative attack value, that's treated the same as 0, no refunds. A pretty novel way to use wounds that I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen already, but happy we get to see it here. Let's look at a couple of heroes that actually get to put the wounds on enemies. One of those heroes is General Okoye with her uncommon Sovereign Bodyguard, a strength card with an attack of 3 and a cost of 5. Once per turn, when a player gains a wound, you may reveal this card to return that wound to the wound stack, draw a card, and wound a villain. So you get to take that wound that you got, not just cancel it, but put it on a villain. So this will be great for some stronger villains in the city where you can kind of chip away at their attack one by one, make them a little easier to deal with. Doesn't quite work well with characters like Hulk and Wolverine that need to KO wounds because she puts the wound on the villain. One more thing to note is that the common card that we already saw gives the option to get +1 attack and draw a card, and then if you do gain a wound, and now we see how this combo works, she can play To My Last Breath to do that, and then cancel that wound and put it on a villain instead with this uncommon. Very neat. Another hero card that can put wounds on villains is Forked Lightning, Queen Storm of Wakanda's uncommon, another dual class card, this time covert and ranged, a 3-attack card with a cost of 6. Wound villains on the rooftops and bridge. Covert range power, gain the throne's favor. If you already had it, you may spend it to wound the mastermind twice. I really like the blending of the old with the city space targeting and with the new of adding wounds to things, and then if you get through the superpower of covert and ranged, and then you get through the throne's favor, you can actually wound the mastermind, which is kind of a big deal because those wounds I'm pretty sure are going to stay there until you hit the mastermind, giving maybe the other side or other players a chance to hit the mastermind at a lower attack. This is a great card for cooperative teamwork, or if you're playing solo, just giving you that chance of hitting the mastermind when you normally be 1 attack short, but taking a couple turns to whittle them down a little bit. And I love the look of this card. The red and the blue blend really well. And while she's, of course, Heroes of Wakanda affiliated, she's got to rep her X-Men family there. A couple more details on the mastermind wounding specifically. Some cards specifically say to wound the mastermind. This works the same way as villains, though whenever you fight one of that mastermind's tactics, their wounds will return to the stack. That's not the only way that wounds can be removed from villains in the mastermind, though. Certain villains are more than capable of doing just that. Let's take a look at them. First up, we have our first look at the Killmonger's League villain group with Prey. Prey is a 3-attack villain with 2 VP, but there's a twist. Ambush. Each player reveals an instinct hero or gains a wound that was on a mastermind or villain. While Prey has more than 0 attack, you cannot fight him. Instead, you may spend attack equal to his attack to wound him and draw a card. Now, because each time you wound a villain, they get 1 less attack, he basically costs 6 attack to get down to 0 to basically fight. So first time you wound him, you have to spend 3, second time you have to spend 2, third time you have to spend 1, that adds up to 6, and then you can fight him for effectively 0. So I guess you could do that in 1 turn or split it over a couple of turns, but very interesting. And next we have another Killmonger's League villain, Malice. Malice starts with 4 attack and has a VP value of 2. Ambush. Return a wound from the mastermind and from each villain to the wound stack. While Malice has more than 0 attack, you cannot fight her. Instead, you may spend attack equal to her attack to wound her and rescue a bystander. So very similar to Prey there. So she's going to heal everybody who's got a wound on them. And like Prey, she effectively costs more than 4 to fight. She's going to cost you 10 total attack to get down to 0, unless you do some other trickery. But that's how the math works out. I should note that wounding these villains does not count as fighting a villain. Only fighting when they're 0 counts as fighting. So you could actually get 1 or more of these villains down to 0 by spending attack. And then, if you didn't recruit anything that turn, you could also rest and heal any wounds you had because it's not a fight action. and then the next turn, the next player could take all the villains out for 0 if, again, Malice hasn't shown up and gotten rid of some wounds on them. You're going to have to be fine with the other players getting your hard-earned VP from you whittling down their attack, but I'll leave that to you and your friends to deal with. And who's always leading these villains? Of course, it is Killmonger. Killmonger, along with Prey and Malice, aren't fought the same way as other characters. Instead, you must spend attack equal to their attack in order to wound them and bring that attack value down. In Killmonger's case, you must spend 5 attack, then 4, then 3, and so on until you're able to fight him at 0 attack. Wounding them this way is not considered a fight for the sake of certain effects, and you only gain their listed positive effect, like +1 recruit from Killmonger, when you wound them, not when you fight. And let's take a closer look. He starts with 5 attack and a VP value of 4, as you read in the description. While Killmonger has more than 0 attack, you cannot fight him. Instead, you may spend attack equal to his attack to wound him and get +1 recruit. Always leads Killmonger's league. Master Strike. Each player must reveal 4 different hero classes or gain one of the wounds on Killmonger. Any player who can't do either must discard down to 4 cards. So he kind of feels like Arcade or J. Jonah Jameson in that way, where you kind of have to chip away in order to hit him, but it's a different twist on that, very fun. I wonder what his tactics do, because once you hit him, all his wounds are gone, he goes back up to normal, so it's not like he can remove wounds with his tactics, there won't be any point. That will be fun to find out. It's going to be fun to see what it feels like fighting him. I think it's going to be really interesting, like I said before, with cooperative play, because who's going to chip the Mastermind down, who's going to actually hit the Mastermind and get the VP for the tactics. And again, I wonder what his tactics look like. Also, him leading Killmonger's league and the other villain group revealed being enemies of Wakanda means we're probably going to see, my guess is, Claw as the second Mastermind, and I look forward to seeing what he does. No Throne's Favor on this Mastermind card, but it could be on his tactics. Anyway, a neat look at this card, and I can't wait to find out more. And we won't have to wait long. Marvel Legendary Black Panther releases next week on August 3rd. I'll be bringing you a complete card overview and unboxing, of course, as I usually do, as well as some live streams. Make sure to follow me at twitch.tv/BagelTopGames if you'd like to catch those. I will see you in the Discord, and here next week. Take care, everybody.